Hello students, welcome to the lecture on financial market, and after this lecture we will be able to learn the following objectives. Explain the financial markets and their economic functions, define types of financial markets and their roles, understand the financial market structure, discuss on derivative products, understand the financial intermediaries and their functions, and discuss on financial market regulation. Let's discuss about financial market. It talks about the roles of financial intermediaries and the implication of automated financial trading for both domestic and world financial markets. Financial markets channel funds from those who have saved to those who wish to make capital investment. Financial markets can be divided into primary and secondary markets. The former deal with newly issued financial instruments, whereas the latter deal with a transaction of previously issued financial instruments. Financial markets can also be divided into money and capital markets. Financial instruments in money markets have maturities less than 1 year. Example of money market instruments are US Treasury bills, commercial paper, bank certificates of deposit, Eurodollar deposit, and federal funds loans. Financial instruments in capital markets have maturities equal to or greater than 1 year. Example of capital market instruments are business equities, corporate bonds, US Treasury notes and bonds, mortgage loans, and consumer and commercial loans. Let us understand financial markets and the economic function. A financial market is a market where financial instruments are exchanged or traded. Financial market provide the following three major economic functions: price discovery, liquidity, reduction of transaction cost. Price discovery. Price discovery function means that transaction between buyers and sellers of financial instruments in the financial market determine the price of the traded asset. At the same time, the required return from the investment of funds is determined by the participant in a financial market. The motivation for those seeking funds, deficit units, depends on the required return that investors demand. It is these functions of financial markets that signal how the funds available from those who want to lend or invest funds will be allocated among those needing funds and raise those funds by issuing financial instruments. Liquidity function provides an opportunity for investor to sell a financial instruments, since it is referred to as a measure of the ability to sell an asset at its fair market value at any time. Without liquidity, an investor would be forced to hold a financial instrument until condition arise to sell it, or the issuer is contractually obligated to pay it off. Debt instrument is liquidated when it matures, and equity instrument is until the company is either voluntarily or involuntarily liquidated. All financial markets provide some form of liquidity. The function of reduction of transaction costs is performed when financial market participants are charged and or bear the cost of trading in a financial instrument. In market economies, economic rationale for the existence of institution and instrument is related to transaction costs. Thus, the surviving institution and instrument are those that have the lowest transaction cost. The mentioned attributes of transaction and the underlying incentive problems are related to behavioral assumption about the transacting parties. The economists have contributed to transaction cost economics by analyzing behavior of the human beings, assumed generally self-serving and rational in the conduct and also behaving opportunistically. What do you understand by type of markets and their roles? A financial market is a broad term describing any marketplace where buyers and sellers participate in the trade of assets such as equities, bonds, currencies, and derivatives. Investors have access to a large number of financial markets and exchanges representing a vast array of financial products. Some of these markets have always been open to private investors, others remain the exclusive domain of major international banks and financial professional units until the very end of the 20th century. A capital market is one in which individuals and institutions trade financial securities. Organization and institution in the public and private sectors. This type of market is composed of both the primary and secondary markets. Any government or corporation requires capital funds to finance its operation and to engage in its own long-term investment. To do this, a company raises money through the sale of securities, stocks, and bonds in the company's name. These are bought and sold in the capital markets. Stock markets allow investors to buy and sell shares in publicly traded companies. They are one of the most vital areas of a market economy as they provide companies with access to capital and investors with a slice of ownership in the company and the potential of gains based on the company's future performance. This market can be split into two main parts, the primary market and the secondary market. Primary market is where new issues are first offered with any subsequent trading going on in the market. A bond is a debt investment in which an investor loans money to an entity, corporate or governmental, which borrows the funds for a defined period of time at a fixed interest rate. Bonds are used by companies, municipalities, state and US and foreign governments to finance a variety of projects and activities. Bonds can be bought and sold by investors on credit markets around the world. This market is alternately referred to as the debt, credit, or fixed income market. It is much larger in nominal terms than the world's stock markets.
This podcast episode will explain the different types of markets that businesses operate in. There are 6 main types of markets that you need to learn about. These are resource markets, industrial markets, intermediate markets, consumer markets, mass markets, and niche markets.
The money market is a segment of the financial market in which financial instruments with high liquidity and very short maturities are traded. The money market is used by participants as a means for borrowing and lending in the short term, from several days to just under a year. Money market securities consist of negotiable certificates of deposit (CDs), bankers' acceptances, US Treasury bills, commercial paper, municipal notes, Eurodollars, federal funds, and repurchase agreement reports. Money market investment are also called cash investment because of their short maturities. The money market is used by a wide array of participants, from a company raising money by selling commercial paper into the market to an investor purchasing CDs as a safe place to park money in the short term. The money market is typically seen as a safe place to put money due to the highly liquid nature of the securities and short maturities. Because they are extremely conservative, money market securities offer significantly lower returns than most other securities. However, there are risks in the money market that any investor needs to be aware of, including the risk of default on securities such as commercial paper. Investing in the cash or spot market is highly sophisticated, with opportunities for both big losses and big gains. In the cash market, goods are sold for cash and are delivered immediately. By the same token, contracts bought and sold on the spot market are immediately effective. Prices are settled in cash on the spot at current market prices. This is notably different from other markets in which trades are determined at forward prices. The cash market is complex and delicate and generally not suitable for inexperienced traders. The cash markets tend to be dominated by so-called institutional market players such as hedge funds, limited partnership, and corporate investors. The very nature of the products traded requires access to far-reaching, detailed information and a high level of macroeconomic analysis and trading skills. The derivative is named so for a reason. Its value is derived from its underlying asset or assets. A derivative is a contract but in this case, the contract price is determined by the market price of the core asset. If that sounds complicated, it's because it is. The derivatives market adds yet another layer of complexity and is therefore not ideal for inexperienced traders looking to speculate. However, it can be used quite effectively as part of a risk management program. Examples of common derivatives are forwards, futures, option, swaps, and contracts for different CFDs. The interbank market is a financial system and trading of currencies among banks and financial institutions, excluding retail investors and smaller trading parties. While some interbank trading is performed by banks on behalf of large customers, most interbank trading takes place from the bank's own accounts. Forex market is where currencies are traded. The forex market is the largest, most liquid market in the world with an average traded value that exceeds $1.9 trillion per day and includes all of the currencies in the world. The forex is the largest market in the world in terms of the total cash value traded, and any person, firm or country may participate in this market. Primary market issues new securities on an exchange. Companies, governments, and other groups obtain financing through debt or equity-based securities. Primary markets, also known as new issue markets, are facilitated by underwriting groups which consist of investment banks that will set a beginning price range for a given security and then oversee its sale directly to investors. The primary markets are where investors have their first chance to participate in a new security issuance. The issuing company or group receive cash proceeds from the sale, which is then used to fund operation or expand the business. The secondary market is where investor purchase securities or assets from where investor rather than from issuing companies themselves. The Securities and Exchange Commission (SEC) registers securities prior to their primary issuance, then they start trading in the secondary market on the New York Stock Exchange, NASDAQ or other venue where the securities have been accepted for listing and trading. The secondary market is where the bulk of exchange trading occurs each day. Primary markets can see increased volatility over secondary markets because it is difficult to accurately gauge investor demand for a new security until several days of trading have occurred. In the primary market, prices are often set beforehand, whereas in the secondary market, only basic forces like supply and demand determine the price of the security. Financial markets have evolved significantly over several hundred years and are undergoing constant innovation to improve liquidity. Both general markets and specialized markets exist. Markets work by placing many interested sellers in one place, thus making them easier to find for prospective buyers. An economy which relies primarily on interaction between buyers and sellers to allocate resources is known as a market economy, in contrast either to a command economy or to a non-market economy that is based such as a gift economy. Financial market facilitate the raising of capital, the transfer of risk, international trade. They are used to match those who want capital to those who have it. Typically, a borrower issues a receipt to the lender promising to pay back the capital. These receipts are securities which may be freely bought or sold. Financial markets could mean organizations that facilitate the trade in financial products, that is, stock exchanges facilitate the trade in stocks, bonds, and warrants. The coming together of buyers and sellers to trade financial products, that is, stocks and shares, are traded between buyers and sellers in a number of ways, including the use of stock exchanges, directly between buyers and sellers, etc. In academia, students of finance will use both meanings, but students of economics will only use the second meaning. Financial markets can be domestic or they can be international. There are some key risks of derivative. Counterparty risk. Derivatives are issued by third parties such as listed companies or financial institutions, which are usually referred to as issuers. If these organizations encounter financial problems leading to a decrease in their credit rating, or if they collapse because of solvency problems, the derivatives values will be affected and may even lose all value. Investment risk of the underlying asset. Derivatives prices depend on the value of their underlying assets. Normally, fluctuation in the underlying asset prices will affect derivatives prices directly. This is the investment risk of the underlying asset. Early redemption and potential capital loss risk. Regardless of whether the investor chooses to redeem early or the issue has to determine the products because of early redemption, these actions may cause the investor to lose money because they may receive an amount less than what they have invested. Liquidity risk. Generally speaking, the risk is related to whether or not the derivatives can be easily sold and converted into cash. Before their expiry, some derivatives may be harder to sell and convert into cash. If it is not possible to sell them, we will have to wait until the derivative expire before we can get funds back. Interest rate risk. Any derivative will ultimately be exchanged for an asset and money, or exchange between two currencies. The fact is that money is necessarily linked to interest rates. Therefore, interest rate changes will definitely affect the values of derivative products. Leverage risk. Consider that a small movement in the stock market or foreign exchange market may exhibit a more drastic change in a derivative's price. This is a leverage risk. The higher the gearing ratio, the higher the leverage risk.
I know what you are all thinking. What? What does that even mean? So I'm going to tell you the story of my friend Ramu, the farmer, to help you understand derivatives better. My friend Ramu is a farmer who raises cattle. He has 10 cows and wants to sell them in the market 1 year from now. He knows he will spend 30 rupees per cow to raise them. So his total investment will be 300 rupees. But now he's worried that if another spell of mad cow disease breaks out, he won't get much money for his cattle when he decides to sell them. So, to protect his business, Ramu meets an investor's broker and enters a business contract with him. You are the investor who has sent your broker to Ramu. You may think that mad cow disease is not likely to occur. So you tell your broker to agree to pay Ramu 100 rupees per cow 1 year from now, irrespective of the market price. What you've just done is entered a futures contract. Basically, futures are contracts that obligate the buyer to buy an asset and the seller to sell the asset at a predetermined future date and price. In this case, the futures contract obligates Ramu to sell his 10 cows to you at 100 rupees per cow 1 year from now and obligates you to buy them then at that price. Ramu agrees to this because this means that 1 year from now, whatever the market price is, he will get a profit of 100 rupees minus 30 rupees, that is 70 rupees per cow. He has limited his risk and locked in his profit. Ramu is playing it safe and it works out well for him. But what about you? If you're right and mad cow disease does not break out, let's see what position you'll be in 1 year from now. 1 year from now, the price of cows in the open market may even soar to 200 rupees per cow. This means that you will buy his cows for 100 rupees per cow and sell them in the open market for 200 rupees, making a profit of 100 rupees per cow or 1000 rupees on an investment of 1000 rupees. Wow! This is all pretty clear sailing so far, right? Right. But hang on a second. But what if you are wrong and there is a spell of mad cow disease? In this situation, the market price could drop to even 20 rupees a cow. Uh-oh. This spells trouble for you. This means you will have to pay 100 rupees for each cow and be able to sell them for only 20 rupees per cow, which means you will make a loss of 80 rupees per cow or 800 rupees on an investment of 1000 rupees. Yes, that's a huge risk to take. So is there a way that as an investor, you can limit your risk? Luckily for you, yes, there is. If as an investor, you do not want to take the risk of losing too much money, you could simply have an agreement with your broker called stop loss. This means that as soon as it becomes clear that your loss will go beyond a certain level, he will exit the futures contract and stop your losses from getting worse. Now, what does that really mean? It means that if as an investor you instruct your broker to stop your losses at 50 rupees per cow, the minute the market price reaches 50, he will exit the contract by selling it to someone else and stop your losses at 50 rupees per cow. So now you have limited your risk.
The performance of a financial market depends upon the performance of the total number of securities that are traded in that market. On a given day, when the market closes with the prices of most of its securities on the higher side, then it could be said to have performed well. This is reflected in a market indicator called index, which track the performance of some of the more popular and steady securities that are traded in that particular financial market. The financial market index has become particularly important in today's market economy, which is integrating very fast on a global scale. Traders do not confine trading in securities to just one or two markets in the country of their origin, but invest in a large number of markets across the globe. Financial market analysts cannot anticipate such factors, and therefore the impact of these factors do not come under the main purview of financial market analysis. There are three main constituents of the financial system. Financial assets. The financial assets or near money assets are the claims to money and perform some function of money. They have high degree of liquidity but are not as liquid as money is. Financial assets are of two types: primary or direct assets, or secondary or indirect assets. Primary assets are the financial claims against real sector units created by real sector units as ultimate borrowers for raising funds to finance their deficit spending. They are the obligation of ultimate borrowers. The examples of primary assets are bills, bonds, equities, book debits, etc. Secondary assets are financial claims issued by financial institutions against themselves to raise funds from the public. These assets are the obligation of the financial institution. The examples of secondary assets are bank deposit, life insurance policies, unit trusts of India units, etc. Financial markets. The financial system of a country works through the financial markets and the financial institution. The financial markets deal with their financial assets of different types: currency deposit, checks, bills, bonds, etc. Financial markets perform the following function. They create and allocate credit. They serve as intermediaries in the process of mobilization or saving. They provide convenience and benefits to the lender and borrowers. They promote economic development through a balanced regional and sectorial allocation of investable funds. Financial markets are credit markets which cater the credit needs of individuals, firms and institutions. Since credit is required and supplied for short period and long period, the financial markets are broadly divided into two types: money market and capital market. Money market deals with a short period borrowing and lending of funds. In the money market, the short-term securities are exchanged. Capital market deals with the long period borrowing and lending of funds. In the capital market, long-term securities are exchanged. Financial market may also be categorized into primary market and secondary market. Primary market is a market in which newly issued credit instruments are sold and purchased. Secondary market, on the other hand, is market in which previously issued credit instruments are bought and sold. Financial institution. Financial institution or financial intermediaries act as halfway houses between the primary lenders and the final borrowers. They borrow funds or accept deposits from those who are willing to give up their current purchasing power and lend to or buy securities from those who require the funds for meeting the current expenditures. Financial institutions are generally divided into two categories: banks and non-bank financial intermediaries. The main difference between banks and non-bank financial intermediaries is that the former possess while the latter do not possess the demand deposit or credit creating power. Financial intermediaries include depository institutions, insurance companies, regulated investment companies, investment banks, and pension banks. The role of financial intermediaries is to create more favorable transaction terms than could be realized by lenders or investors and borrowers dealing directly with each other in the financial market. The financial intermediaries are engaged in obtaining funds from lenders or investors and number 2, lending or investing the funds that they borrow to those who need funds. The funds that a financial intermediary acquires become, depending on the financial claim, either the liability of the financial intermediary or equity participants of the financial intermediary. The funds that a financial intermediary lends or invests become the asset of the financial intermediary. Financial intermediaries are engaged in transformation of financial assets which are less desirable for a large part of the investing public into other financial assets, their own liabilities which are more widely preferred by the public. Financial market regulation. Many regulations have been enacted in response to fraudulent practices. One of the key aims of regulation is to ensure business disclosure of accurate information for investment decision making. Where information is disclosed only to a limited set of investors, those have major advantages over other groups of investors. This regulatory framework has to provide the equal access to disclosure by companies. The recent regulations were passed in response to large bankruptcies, overhauled corporate governance in order to strengthen the role of auditors in overseeing accounting procedure. Now in the end, let us summarize what we have learned in this lecture. Financial markets channel funds from those who save to those who wish to make capital investment. Financial markets provide the following three major economic functions: price discovery, liquidity, and reduction of transaction costs. A financial market is a broad term describing any marketplace where buyers and sellers participate in the trade of assets such as equities, bonds, currencies, and derivatives. A financial market is a mechanism that allows people to easily buy and sell financial securities. Financial markets can be domestic or they can be international. Derivatives prices depend on the value of their underlying assets. Normally, fluctuation in the underlying assets prices will affect derivatives prices directly. Financial markets have become one of the main activities covering a very large number of factors both within the market and outside it. Financial intermediaries include depository institutions, insurance companies, regulated investment companies, investment banks, and pension funds. Financial regulation for the financial markets and financial intermediaries in US in order to ensure consumer protection.